Hi everybody, today I will be drawing Wolfgang from Don't Starve Together. This is my fourth drawing of the characters in Don't Starve, so if you'd like to check out the other drawings that I've done, I have a playlist on my channel. Today I thought I'd give you a bit of a behind the scenes look at the sketching of Wolfgang. So I usually start by drawing the characters as they are seen in the game. So on the left side you can see the originals. So I started off by drawing Wolfgang in his mightiest form, and then I drew him in his wimpy form to see which one I wanted to do, and I decided that I thought I would do his mighty form because that's the better form. His strengths, he's really strong and is a big powerhouse when he's fully fed, but the hungrier he gets, the weaker he gets, and his hunger drains faster than others, so he has to eat a lot. And I don't typically play him, but my boyfriend does, and that's always a fun time making sure that Wolfgang is fed. So as you can see, I have just been working on anatomy. I followed a reference photo that I found on Pinterest for a muscly man. As I mentioned in my Wilson drawing, I tend to stick to females, so I am definitely weaker in the male anatomy, and I had to do a couple studies on the way the muscles work and stuff, so that's what I started with. And then obviously I had to also add clothes to him, so I decided to draw one of his skins, and he's wearing these interesting clothes, which actually I found out is called, it's a German type of clothing. I think it's called Lederhosen, or maybe I'm not sure. But so I looked up those online and found a reference for those clothes, and that was definitely some inspiration. So then I move on to drawing on Procreate, and I sketch out some rough shapes to kind of outline where the body should go. I had to do several sketches, and each time I tried to render it a little bit more and a little bit more, and then I finally moved on to the big sketch layer, but I tweaked it and I moved it around. One of the reasons that I really enjoy using digital software for creating art, because you can manipulate drawings after the fact. I'm just adjusting his proportions, and I made him a little bit taller because he was kind of stocky at the beginning, and then I made sure that his shoulders weren't too wide, his legs weren't too skinny, but he was still proportionately right. He is known for having a really big chin. I tried to emphasize that, which I think turned out okay. So then I start coloring him in, and I didn't follow the skin too closely with the colors actually, because I think he has a green shirt and like brown short things, but I actually just made the pants green, which I kind of liked better. Here I have the split view again, so you can see what I'm doing. I decided to stick with the cool shadows and the warm highlights like I've been doing in my recent drawings, and also especially with the Don't Starve characters. I think that the cool shadows and the warm highlights just gives a more eerie look. Don't Starve is more of a eerie game. I mean, it's not scary by any means, but there's a lot of fire in the game because you have to be well lit every night so that you don't get hit by Charlie, who if Charlie hits you, you die. So definitely want to avoid that. And so there's just a lot of fire in the game and a lot of warm lighting, so I just think that it really matches the tone of the game. Fun fact, while I was drawing this, I was actually listening to true crime podcasts, which I have really been getting into. My go-to right now is one called Crime Junkies, and I definitely recommend them if you're interested in true crime. Also, I love Bailey Sarian on YouTube. I watched a lot of her murder mystery makeup Monday videos, which I really enjoy as well. Yeah, more about Wolfgang is that his wimpy form is very slow, so it also makes kiting slightly more difficult. So for instance, if usually you could hit a spider twice and then run away and then not get hit, you could only maybe hit him once. So it's worth it to try and keep Wolfgang well fed, but his stomach is I think 300, which is kind of insane. He requires a lot of food to keep going, and one time I was playing War Talks while my boyfriend played Wolfgang, and that was an interesting combination because, for those of you who don't know, War Talks actually only gets half filled from food in the game. So basically, if you make meatballs in the crock pot and that's worth 60 hunger regularly, for War Talks that's only 30 hunger, which is insanely frustrating. A very difficult combo right at the beginning of early game when you're kind of struggling for food anyway before you really have set up your base and stuff. Wolfgang and War Talks is very powerful together, but beginning game is super difficult with both of them, and I would kind of recommend avoiding that and then just getting the Moonstone thing set up and treating Warthog's character in later game, because that might be more useful. Yeah, I learned a lot about the male anatomy by drawing this, and I actually used Terry Crews as a reference because I watch a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and he is very muscular. He also wears kind of similar clothing to this. He obviously doesn't wear lederhosen or however you pronounce it, but he wears, what are they called? He wears those things that go over your shoulders. And he also wears these button-up shirts. And he also usually wears them rolled up to his elbows. It was really useful to see how the clothing would kind of sit around the forearms like that and stuff, which was good. And so I also really enjoyed kind of sculpting out the face with the shadows in this drawing. This drawing took me about 6 hours, and I got in the zone and totally forgot to drink any water or make any food while I was drawing this. So by the time I was done, I was kind of had to catch up on all of that stuff. I've been trying to drink more water in the new year to be healthy and everything. So I fell behind while I was drawing this, which was kind of funny, but I just got in the zone and the whole world ceased to exist while I was drawing this, which is actually really fun. I really enjoy when I get in the zone, and I'm just adding warmer tones into his skin. And then another thing that I forgot to mention is that Wolfgang's favorite food is potatoes, specifically cooked potatoes. And potatoes are a really good food source in the game, and also they're his favorite. So when the character has a favorite food, I think they get like a plus 15 bonus of hunger. What typically would be like maybe 25 to 30 hunger for just a regular potato for a regular character is then like 40 or 50 for Wolfgang, which is just so useful. And then also with the new update of the game, they have now introduced huge crops, which to be honest take kind of a lot of work to get started, although I've been watching Beard's video, so I know the combos on how to make them, because how the crops work is you start with a plot, and then a certain food item requires you to provide either manure or compost or food growth formula, and different plants absorb or produce different amounts. So I'm pretty sure for potatoes they absorb manure and they provide food growth, I think. I wouldn't quote me on that. But tomatoes absorb food growth and provide manure. So when you plant potatoes and tomatoes together, you can make huge crops, and for every one huge crop you get, I think, 3 regular sized crops and 2 seeds, which is just amazing. And then you can have a very mighty Wolfgang for your game, which is super useful because he's super strong, super fast when he's fully fed, and that is a difficult thing to maintain. But if you have massive food crops, then you will always keep him well fed, and it's just a perfect circle. Anyway, so that's why I decided to put these giant crops behind Wolfgang, and then obviously I use my new favorite tool, which is the blur. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you next week.